wanted to do in our story was really bring a new life to our presentation. And for the first time, President George Washington will actually speak, along with Barack Obama and Abraham Lincoln, who will be giving the Gettysburg Address completely for the first time. We have new digital audio, which will really bring the sound right into the room. We have digital projection that the image is so crisp, and new digital lighting that let us really focus on the important story points that we're going to tell.
My reference for animating President Obama came from video footage from his campaign trail, plus his inauguration and also the recording done at the White House for his voice. And through that, I could get the different nuances and character gestures that are specifically President Obama. I believe it's more challenging to animate a real person since the audience already knows how President Obama moves and his little characteristics. It's much harder to translate that in audio animatronic. And once you achieve that believability in the character, then you've created the magic that is Disney.
One of the challenges of this project was to take into consideration the span of history and that the film encompasses, that the attraction encompasses. And we start off in Philadelphia around the time of the Constitution and arrive in present day. So the music hopefully takes you on the same journey that the film takes you on. There's a great difference in doing the music for a theme park attraction than a film, especially in the case of this project, which is because there is narration almost continuously. And so the music has to be supportive, but never intrusive.
When you look at the presidency, the presidents we most remember are those who established the greatest trust and bond with the American people. Well, I think what I loved the most about the theme that we worked on together was the idea that Disney wanted to present to the people a sense of the presidents as human beings who had their own fears, their own worries, their own strengths, their own weaknesses. And I think secondly, they were trying to do what I try to do through words. I try to bring presidents alive through words on a page, and the Disney Imagineering people are able to do it through animatronic figures who move and who actually speak in places. So it was so much fun to be working with people who had the same goal in mind with a very different medium. I think all in all, what the experience will show people is the humanity of the individual presidents and their ability to connect emotionally to the American people.
It's been a very fulfilling experience for me as an animator because we've really been able to get down to who is Mr. Potato Head and how would he act in any of these given situations.
Games that test your skills. It's all right here at Toy Story Midway Mania.
Today we are in the animation programming of our Lincoln figure on stage, and we're doing the final audio mixing in the theater as well, so that next week when we come in with our entire show integration team, we can put the whole show together. We're taking a look at how he performs, his posture, his actual arm movements, his eye contact, all of those considerations coupled with the audio soundtrack of the Royal Dano speech that we've heard for a number of years, and kind of the blending of the new technology with the old audio recordings has made for a really great show that I think our Disney enthusiasts will be very, very proud that we're returning to Disneyland Park.
By what means shall we fortify against it?
Ben Franklin is the most complex animated figure ever built. And working with a figure that advanced, it's much harder and more complicated in order to bring to life. To learn how to do Ben, I had to get a cane and walk around with it for almost a week. I practiced the walk, deciding how I wanted him to look. I had to go over it hundreds of times, acting out and working on it, till finally I got it just right. With Ben, it took over a month to get it right. to make all the movements precise and at the same time smooth and fluid. Believe it or not, I broke 5 canes trying to get it just right, but in the end, I finally got the look that I wanted. In the American Adventure, we're really putting on an entire play with these figures. It's not like some of the other shows where you ride in a car and only see them for a few seconds. These figures have to be played much more subtle. They only become alive when you see them relate to each other as people do. They can't just play to the audience, they have to play to each other. Often, it's the very small, subtle gestures that give the figure their true life. These are things that they aren't in the script, but they give the figure that extra feeling of life. At times, I feel like I become part of the figure, and I'm up there acting out each little part. And because I want this show to look its very best, I put a lot of pride in what I'm doing, and it's fun because I get to use my abilities and push myself to the limit of what I know and what I can do. It's that pride in giving 100%. Well, that's what makes it all work.
This figure is a little bit newer than what we have all through the park. And what we did here is worked with the University of Utah and their labs there. And what happens there is they make several artificial arms and limbs for different people, and they try and come up with new improvements on artificial limbs. And so what we did is we sent our robot figure out to them and said, what can you do to improve it? And they came up with a new system called the compliance system, which is a little red box that goes on the end of each function or actuator. And it controls that actuator more precisely and accurately than ever before.
Disney's dreams have occasionally been Dave Fighton's nightmares.
Yeah, all kinds. You know, you have bears chasing you in your sleep, and Lincoln, you may have problems where you can't get him to move how you want in your dreams. You know? Or sometimes he won't stop moving. You're saying, that isn't what I want, and no, I'm going to move how I want. And, or sometimes he won't get out of his chair. I've had that dream several times. He's so strong that he can break almost anything or pick up something and throw it. And there's been times where I was working on a figure where I'd moved the arm the wrong way, and instead of going on top of the table, went underneath the table, picked it up, and threw it all the way across the room over my head, and just demolished the whole table. We're already talking of ideas of making one walk completely on its own, where there's no cord or nothing to it, and to be hopefully just like a real human being. Just walk around, sit down, just like you and I. Problem is you won't know which it is. Is it a robot or a human?
Thankfully, not all programming projects are as complicated.
Oh, chickens, they're my favorite. Chickens are great because all you have to do is sit here, close your eyes, and just go like that. And they come out perfect.
This government must be preserved in spite of the acts of any man or set of men. Nowhere in the world is presented a government of so much liberty and equality. To the humblest and poorest among us are held the highest privileges and positions. Our reliance is in the love of liberty, which God has planted in us.